Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the next film is Snow White. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything that much about this movie because I made like a two-part review on it, but yeah, let's go over something here. Like John Carter, there are people who are defending this. Why? I can't imagine why anybody was like actually gonna like this movie. I mean, it was a very cheap it was a very cheap fantasy movie. It got nothing special. It rips off other movie. Like I said, it literally rips off the scene from Princess Mononoke, which I find unacceptable. It is unacceptable in many ways. I mean, you need to actually, like, it wasn't even a homage. It's not a homage. You just take a scene from Mononoke and just put it in your goddamn film. Okay, I'm repeating myself on my video, but goddamn, that's what it is. You're not making a homage. You're ripping people off. You're a cheapskate, basically. And that wasn't the only thing that ripped off either. You can see like other scenes from pretty much like Neverending Story, Lord of the Rings and stuff, and then The Hobbit. And that movie wasn't even made yet. That movie wasn't even done yet at that point. And it was an outright bad movie. I mean, don't even get me started on Kristen Stewart. I already said enough about her. I mean, she can't act worth the shit. The only reason she's even in the movie business is because she's bankable right now, because people still remember her as Bella Swan. This was the case in point. She was basically Bella Swan in Snow White. It was the same character, the same expression, the same way she speaks. Oh yeah, and I watched the movie again on DVD. She did try to make like an English accent like the first 5 minutes of the film, and she just gave up completely the rest of the film. The action was out of place. The action was like trying so hard to be like a video game. I mean, that's one more thing I forgot about this film, was that the action was so bad. I mean, just start jumping around, flipping, like doing backflip, doing cartwheels and stuff, and everything else was so forgettable and bland. So I'm not gonna say anything much about this movie because I already said it enough, basically. And if you want to watch anything that is dwarf related, just go watch The Hobbit, because that's how you do like dwarf movie and pretty much action scenes set in like the Middle Ages and stuff. Now, this next movie, I'm gonna get lynched for this, but I know there's lots of people who like this, and there's something wrong with you, basically. And okay, let me tell you a funny story about this. I saw this movie immediately after Snow White and the Huntsman. I think about 4 or 5 days after I saw Snow White and the Huntsman. And I was hoping that this movie was going to be like an antidote for how bad Snow White was. And it wasn't. It was an extra dosage of poison into me. Not only was this movie bad, it was disappointing. It wasn't like Hunger Games. Hunger Games was an actually good movie to some extent. This was an outright bad, insulting movie. And so many people are defending this as something like a godsend movie, which is not. This movie is Prometheus. I mean, God, I did not make a review on this because I was so busy with the Snow White review. And lots of my friends who was in my film journalism class already addressed the issue on this. And they pissed off a lot of people, which I'm about to do now. But what we all saw was right. It was a bad film. Prometheus is an over-budget, bad sci-fi movie made by Ridley Scott. And I mean, that was like a kick in the nut for us. I mean, this was Ridley Scott. Everybody who's seen Aliens was expecting this to be like a renaissance for science fiction. We expected like this new wave of like dark and gritty science fiction movie to come out. And it wasn't. It was the complete opposite. Every charm, everything that had made the original Alien good was absent in the entire Prometheus movie. Instead of going for a very atmospheric horror movie, this turned into like a slasher movie with aliens, basically. There wasn't even aliens. They're just like people who got caught in Parasite or something, and they just start like randomly killing people and stuff, and the entire plot looks like it was made for TV. It was that bad, and it disappointed us of people because we all wanted this to be the next Alien, something that was so scary, something that was so frightening that it's gonna scare you deep into the night, and it wasn't. And they promised us that this was gonna be like a prequel to the Alien film, which was like a complete lie. It wasn't. I mean, it's like they're trying to like separate this as like a different universe from the Alien movie, and but they still try to leech on to the fact that this is related to Alien. They have like this alien queen that comes out at the end, which makes no sense because like it already like been like established that this was not the same planet that the Nostromo from the original Alien landed. It looks nothing alike. There was no like alien egg with face and no nothing on it. I mean, I heard from like lore of Alien, LORE lore, that the alien, the space jockey. There's one more thing that pissed me off, space jockey, but I'll get to that later. But the thing is that the aliens, the xenomorph, basically, they were biological weapon made by the space jockey to go fight in war. And this particular ship kind of landed on LV-1201. I can't remember what this planet was called, but when this ship crashed because one of the specimen got loose, it face hugged the space jockey, and it created a whole new colony of alien on that planet. That was good. Now in this movie, it's like a weapon experiment site for the space jockey. That's a pretty cool idea. If it wasn't the fact that everything was so damn vague in this film. Oh yeah, let's get back to the space jockey for a moment. Everybody remember when they first saw it, the space jockey was like this gigantic humanoid with like with trunks that attached them to their chest like this, and it looked alien. Even though it's like a biped creature, it looked alien basically. It's nothing like we've ever seen before. It gives up like this really bad vibes from it. It's like something so eldritch and something so mysterious that it's a reason to be feared. In this movie, it turned out the space jockey are actually bold Arnold Schwarzenegger albino clone. They're like this big honking white dudes, and they look almost identical to us, which is pretty much like a bit disappointing because we all wish the space jockey would look a little more alien than this. Like it turned out that the whole trunk thing was like the space helmet or something, and that was disappointing. And the plot itself was bad. They were pretty much like trying to find the space jockey because like, oh, they left a map of the star and we're going to find our creator. There was like this subplot of like all this religious context which didn't go anywhere. It was like really forced. And when they got there, it turns out the space jockey is still alive, and they start killing people for no particular good reason, and they start chasing, and it was like a bad sci-fi movie, man. I mean, people just get killed for no apparently good reason. I mean, people died because the plot demands them to die. It wasn't like it wasn't consequential. I like a movie when A happened, then B's followed, then C followed. This movie is like everything is disconnected from each other. You have one scene and then they just decide like, oh, these two gotta die. Let's just put a scene in there with no particular reason. The first two guys who died was the guy who mapped the entire like the area, and they got lost. That was like a really bad excuse. And it turns out that everybody that went there was just there to die. There was no character development except for like the main character. I can't even remember her name. I only remember Michael Fassbender. That was the best character in the film. His acting was phenomenal, and his character was good. I mean, the line from that character was good, and the rest just like, who's this guy? Oh, soon to die number 12, soon to die number 1, soon to die number 3, soon to die number 6. And I'm like, yeah, every character beside Michael Fassbender was pretty much there to die, and the main female character, I can't even remember. Even Charlize Theron died. Damn, she like showed up in bad movies a lot, didn't she? And it was just like the plot was bland. There was nothing like that can actually strike fear or make you go wow in it. There was a feel good shot at the beginning of the film, but that was pretty much it. There was nothing else. And I mean, it was so disappointing. I mean, lots of people were hurt basically by the fact that this turned out to be a really cliche, generic sci-fi instead of something that Ridley Scott would do. I mean, did he lose like his touch, or was this like the studio making it to make it more marketable? But it's an R-rated movie, so I don't think that. And yeah, this has to be said. Lots of people who defend this film are saying that people who hate it are like, oh, you're just too stupid to understand how rich and complex this movie is. Oh, there's like a gajillion subplot and there's like lots of symbolism you gotta understand. No, it doesn't. This is not Kubrick. This is not Space Odyssey. There was nothing that can be classified as like symbolism or anything that we need our brain to figure out. The whole movie was badly written on purpose, basically. There was so many things that was left unanswered because they want a sequel. It was not because they want to be intellectually stimulating. They want sequels. It was written by the guy who wrote Lost. I mean, I'm not surprised. And but it was a really cheap way of making a movie. Everything will not be resolved in this film. It's going to be resolved in either the second film or the third film. Maybe the second film will be worse than the first one because it's going to be there's going to be more question, and then everything will finally be revealed in a very anticlimactic way in the third film. Now, what is amazing about it is that there was like I said before, there were so many unanswered questions, and it was left unanswered for a purpose. It wasn't because they want us to think. It was basically a way to write sequels. It was cheap. If I went to watch a movie, I want the story to be completed on itself. It can have link to the next film. That is okay. It's pretty much like the whole Marvel movie universe. Every story is contained within itself. It just have like a teaser to the next film, like the last 10 minutes or like the after credits scene. That was okay because it doesn't actually diminish any storytelling in the original film. But in this case, the film felt incomplete, and now they have like this special edition on Blu-ray and DVD where they have added extra scene. It was pure marketing. It wasn't good story writing. It was pure marketing. For the people who think this is like a very complex movie, it isn't. There's nothing for you to understand here. It was just a very badly written sci-fi that is just a sequel bait to the next film.